G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole? Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, smack that like button, and let's get right into it. Am I the arsehole for reading my co-worker's fanfiction in front of everyone at work? I guess the title sounds bad, but please hear me out. I, 27 male, am a general manager at a fast food restaurant. I'm not going to say which because I don't want to get in trouble, with my assistant manager, Sophie, 23 female. Me and Sophie get along pretty well. We joke fight about stuff all the time and like to prank each other a lot, like prank calls or making the others do fake orders, or writing fake surveys about the other, or splashing soda on the other. We end up working together a lot since we get a bunch of call-outs, especially at night, and Sophie likes to pick up extra hours. We've both climbed up in the couple of years that we've worked there, and we have a good relationship. But when it's dead, Sophie likes to write fanfiction on her phone, which I sometimes tease her about. A while back, I made Sophie read me a line that she was writing, and we were making jokes about it. Last week, I suddenly remembered the fanfiction again and decided to try and find it. I remembered the line that she had read to me, and was able to search for it online using quotation marks. I'm not going to say which show it's from because I don't want anyone to find it, but it was shocking to read. Pretty much the two characters in it worked at a fast food chain and ended up falling in love. It got pretty graphic at some parts too. The main character was essentially a representation of Sophie, and the love interest was basically me. I mean, right down to copying conversations that we've had at work. He even had a wife that he was cheating on to be with her. I'm married, but I would never do such a thing. Anyway, a few nights ago, Sophie and the rest of the team threw a party to celebrate a couple of wins, and of course, Sophie pranked me by shoving a cupcake in my face. So, I remembered what I read, and I thought that it would be a good prank. So I pulled up the fanfiction on my phone and I started to read it. When she realized what I was reading, Sophie's eyes started to tear up, which I was not expecting. The rest of the team was joking around with her, but she ran out of the party. Now she's not showing up to her shifts or answering my calls or texts. It's weird that Sophie's acting like this since she usually loves pranks and stuff, so now I'm wondering if I took it too far. But I also feel like she shouldn't have been writing those things about me and her too. Am I the arsehole? Funny, interesting prank you got there, OP. It feels like there might be a reason that she's not going to share that fanfiction with you in the first place. Oh, that's right. It kind of seems like you gave us the reason that she didn't share this fanfiction with you in the first place. I don't think you're lacking self-awareness in this situation, OP. I genuinely just think you're a bad person. How can you see her running out crying, not coming to work for days on end and think, I'm not actually the bad guy here if you think about it. I mean, at least I don't think I'm the bad guy. Maybe I am, but that's a bit of an overreaction from her. She shouldn't have been shipping me and her in some wacky fanfiction universe. She had it coming. That wasn't a prank at all. Cupcake in the face, that's a prank. It seems like you liked that one. Reading out fanfiction that someone has intentionally tried to keep away from you and obviously wants private, and that doesn't affect the real world, not prank. Cold-hearted, calculated bullying. You're the asshole for this one. Now in the comments, so here is an interesting question for you, OP. What's the prank? What's the joke? What is everyone supposed to laugh at? Oh, that's right. They meant to laugh that Sophie is bad at doing something that she works hard at. Let's all laugh at Sophie. Not because of something funny that she did, not because of something you did to her, just at her efforts and passions. That's not a joke. That was bullying. You're the asshole. And also delusional if you seriously think that a setting and rehashing real conversations means she's using a character as a proxy for you, as opposed to just using what she knows as a part of her writing. Also, Sophie isn't a co-worker, she's a subordinate. Big, you're the asshole. Definitely an inappropriate relationship going on. He would never cheat? Yeah, OP, you're the asshole. He would never cheat, yet they spend most of their shifts together flirting. I am cringing at a married 27-year-old splashing a soda on his 23-year-old subordinate. Like, he's the leadership example? Okay, I'm hearing you out. You are 27 years old, you're a general manager at a restaurant. You deliberately searched out your employee's private creation online and, without permission, shared the entirety of it. Because now everyone can Google a few lines and find the rest, with the rest of the employees with whom you expected her to continue working. No, that doesn't sit right. Let's try again. You were 27, married, and spend many hours a week with a 23-year-old woman who, among other talents, is a writer. The two of you have become rather close friends and built a degree of trust. Out of curiosity, you once decided to sneak around to locate something she wrote about without mentioning it to her. Now you reflect on her lack of communication with you following a celebration with mutual friends, where you used that writing to humiliate her in front of those friends. Nope. No, not working for me. Let's try one more time. A 23-year-old employee at a restaurant is good at her job and actually enjoys spending time with the people she works with. Maybe she thinks the manager is kinda cute, but he's married and she would never go there. Her outlet after a long day of dealing with crazy customers and other stuff is to sit down with a laptop or tablet or phone and write various fiction. Sometimes she shares her writing under a pen name among a group of other writers, but she would never hand out her stories to people who she knows in real life. One day, while celebrating with her coworkers, her general manager steps up and begins reading one of her stories out loud to make everyone laugh. She didn't share this story with him or with anyone. It was private. It was just hers. It was all of her fears and frustrations and stress and imagination, all poured out in the form of a story that could have a life of its own. Now her friend is a traitor, her writing is a public mockery, and her job has become a hostile workplace. While you're baffled that Sophie hasn't come to work or spoken to you, Sophie is dealing with a whole lot. She doesn't have time or space in her thoughts for your bullcrap text messages and calls. You broke it, all of it. But not Sophie, because nothing will break Sophie. You can bet your job on that. At what point do you decide, all on your own, that you are the villain here? You really shouldn't need anyone else to tell you that you're the asshole. But there is a decent possibility that the guy who knocks on your door and demands a signature confirming you've been served will deliver the message in writing. Or maybe you'll get lucky and it'll just be HR that calls you in to account for yourself. And now, on to the update. Thank you everyone for reading and giving your honest feedback. It's been a couple of weeks since I first posted that day, and I want to let you know that I read most of your comments and had a hard time accepting that I'm the asshole. However, after reading and rereading and remembering the situation, I feel that your votes are fair. A lot of you advised that I leave Sophie alone, which I did. But what surprised me is that she actually came into work to her next scheduled shift after that post went up. I was intending on leaving her alone, but she approached me first, so we sat in the back room and had a discussion. I was ready for her to hand in her resignation or talk about taking this to the higher-ups, as some of you had said, but instead, she apologized to me. She said that she was sorry for writing fanfiction at work and for including personal stories. She admitted that the character was about me after all. After reading all of your comments, I was beginning to think that our time together was just inspiration, but she ended up confessing to me. I told Sophie that she had no reason to be sorry and that I had to be responsible for my actions. I acted inappropriately with her at work and allowed these feelings to develop instead of setting boundaries. I also humiliated her and read her diary in front of the whole class, and I deeply apologized. She actually ended up laughing about it, but I do admit that it felt kind of like she was taking the higher ground and trying not to seem that hurt by it. I asked her if she wanted to transfer to a different location, and she said no. She also said she wasn't looking for a new job. I had a separate talk with the rest of the team about what happened, and she joked around with them. Sophie's maturity taught me a lot about myself and things that I need to work on, so that's what I've been doing. She and the rest of the team still like to do pranks, but I am staying out of it now. As a manager, I've got to be in control and focus on the success of the restaurant. Sophie and I are on good terms again, but we've established clear boundaries, and it seems that she is starting to move on. Thank you all again for helping me realize that I'm the asshole. And now in the comments, well, would you look at that? Growth and learning. Sophie sounds like a damn trooper. Positive ending, but boy, it still made me mad. I think I'm still pissed off at OP because it brought up multiple times that he's married, but yet not one mention of what his wife thinks of his subordinate falling for him and continuing to work with him. Somehow, in all of these, the title sounds bad, but listen first, stories, the title actually makes it sound better. While I'm glad he's understanding of how he screwed up, if someone decided to expose my fanfics to my team, I would never look at them ever again. Shit's personal, y'all. Nice to see someone really take in what people tell them about their actions, but still, oof. As for Sophie, I don't even know. OP calls it maturity, but if she is for real that into a married manager that way, then looking for another job might actually be the better option for looking after herself. But maybe she just said that she's not looking and is actually doing so. I can hope. Our next post is titled, My 25 female, boyfriend's 25 male, grandfather threatened to kill me. Should I end the relationship? For context, I met my boyfriend 6 months ago while traveling. His family is extremely wealthy. Think billionaires. And I'm pretty sure they have some sort of mafia kind of relationship to the country that they reside in. This is conjecture, but their wealth is very real. The things I've heard from him about the family are insane. Their behavior is definitely not normal. The things they do remind me of some evil family out of a novel. If it wasn't for the fact that I fell in love with my kind and caring boyfriend before hearing about this, I would not have entered this relationship. I am planning on visiting my boyfriend in his family's country soon, and he has told his other family members when I would be arriving. His grandfather, a man who has been banned from 11 restaurants for how he acts, who has to have a bodyguard with him because he's angered so many people by threatening to kill them that it's created many grudges against him, who forced his own maid to have an affair with him, who threatened to shoot a government official in his face, seems like he has decided that he dislikes me. These are some of the tamer anecdotes from this family. My boyfriend told me that his grandfather threatened to put me in concrete and throw me off a cliff, but my boyfriend wouldn't let him.
Say what now?
OP, is it a good idea to stay in this relationship? Is it a good idea to go to this country? What in God's name is going on here? This has me rethinking the entire trip as I no longer feel safe. I told my boyfriend and he was upset, stating this is how his grandfather jokes, and he obviously wouldn't do anything to me. But I'm not sure. Hey guys, Marky here, just a little prank. If any of you guys ever come to visit me, I'm gonna put all of you in concrete and throw you off a cliff. You like my jokes? I'm gonna kill you. It's a good joke. I don't even know why his crazy grandpa decided that he dislikes me all of a sudden. My boyfriend is normal, but he is very desensitized to the insanity of his family and doesn't understand why I'm afraid to visit him now. What do I do? Should this relationship be over? I do love my boyfriend, and he plans on moving to my country eventually, so it's not like I'll have to deal with his family a lot. But if I can't ever visit him in a place that he considers home, and he doesn't understand my fears, I'm not sure about the longevity of our relationship. Yeah, OP, I'm not sure about the longevity of your life if you stay in this relationship with this guy. Never mind being star-crossed lovers that can never go back to his home country because you've actually done nothing wrong, and yet you're getting death threats already from his family. I might say, that could potentially be a red flag. That may in fact be a red flag. In this situation, I'd rather take my parents role-playing as me on a couch than having my boyfriend's grandfather threaten my life in such a vulgar way that, I don't know, I don't think you deserve this. He has given you the perfect opportunity to break up with him before you end up 6 feet deep potentially. You don't even know the guy, and he's already doing this. Imagine if you went to the country, it turns out he is joking, but these jokes never stop. How much is your sanity worth for them to continually keep making these jokes until it's just like more graphic and it's more realistic and he's like, you know I was kidding about killing you. No, I was actually going to take your entire family over here, tie you to a chair, and have you watch me kill all of them one by one. Isn't that a funny prank? Anyway, let's get to the comments. This has been fun. Yep. I'm not going to go to any foreign country where billionaires have expressed they want to kill me, especially if they're connected to some sort of mafia or cartel. Your boyfriend ain't gonna protect you if they actually want to do harm to you, and if they are as crazy as he makes them sound, then why risk it? If he can't understand why you don't want to go to a place where your life was threatened, then he ain't the one. Reddit's like, my boyfriend's billionaire family may or may not be in the criminal underworld, and his crazy grandfather, who may or may not lead the gang and has a bodyguard for other people's safety, keeps threatening my life. Yo, should I travel to a mansion surrounded by dudes with machine guns in Colombia with him? My boyfriend says that it's all a joke, and he thinks it's cute when Grampy wants to encase someone in concrete, and he's a nice guy. Oh my god! The only reason you know anything about what the grandfather said about you is because boyfriend told you. Ever stop to wonder why he would do that? And OP replies, I don't know why he would. It doesn't make any sense to tell me someone wants to throw me off a cliff who has a history of violence. He has a weird sense of humor, and he may have found it funny or something. Part of me thinks he's so desensitized to how his family behaves that he doesn't see it as being as scary as it is. But now I'm also questioning why he would tell me that. No, come on, figure it out, please. It's funny how weird sense of humor always seems to mean little edgelord crap who is mean to his partner. My unstable, abusive grandfather told me he wanted to murder my girlfriend. Haha, so hilarious. That is going to be a super hard no for me. Either he doesn't see an issue with the terrible way his grandpa treats people, and pretending the problem doesn't exist while still associating his family as him being okay without regardless of what he tells you, and or he wants to come off as protecting you, so you don't think too hard about the fact that he's the reason that you need protection. The fact that he doesn't understand why this makes you feel unsafe doesn't sound good to me. What if you are with his family and his grandfather says something like this and your boyfriend just laughs? Will you feel okay about that or uncomfortable/scared? In the end, you have to ask yourself if you feel like this is the foundation of a stable and strong relationship, if he's going to think threats like this are just fun jokes. If the answer is no, I think you should reconsider your relationship. And OP replies, thank you. This was a very helpful comment in what I was trying to frame this as. We can see it in action. They can't form sentences properly. They too are beginning to lose their mind. Back up to the post, we have an edit. To address some comments, I decided not to go on the trip, but I don't know about breaking up with my boyfriend. We have a great relationship, and he's a great boyfriend when he visits, and even during our long-distance video calls. I need to have a long conversation about his family and going no contact with them in the future because, as I've said in the comments, that side of his family is a mess. For commenters saying not to do this for the money, I'm not. I have a professional career that supports me comfortably. For people who think this isn't real, unfortunately, it really is. I know how insane it sounds, and that's why I'm on Reddit, because I couldn't wrap my head around it myself. Addressing the assault situation, as I said before, I think it is assault/the R word, but I don't really know the details. I didn't want to know in detail because it's frightening to even think about. Thank you to all the commenters with good advice. And now, on to the update. I had a long talk with my boyfriend this morning about his family and cancelling the trip. He was initially upset about me no longer coming to see him, as he really did want to show me the country that he grew up in and spend time with me here. He didn't really intend to make me spend a lot of time with his family. Regardless, I did not feel comfortable either way spending time with people I find to be objectively evil as them. Although my post focused on his grandfather, his actions pale in comparison to his uncle, and his mother is also insane too. Just, wow, one basket of crazies. Even more reason to go hang out with these sane and undoubtedly charitable people. He decided that he would come see me instead, which is usually what we do. He clarified that his grandfather was really joking. I posted a screenshot of our text messages in another comment, but his grandfather was playfully threatening my boyfriend with throwing me off a cliff covered in concrete as a means to get him to do something. He offered to let me talk to his grandfather, but I refused. Still, I will not be risking it, so I'm not going. A lot of commenters on my last post gave me a lot of things to think about in regards to my relationship. One commenter asked whether or not my boyfriend being surrounded by such shitty people means that he sees having a mistress as normal, etc., and might bring that into our relationship going forward. Another one asked whether my boyfriend, coming from such wealth, can ever truly disentangle himself from his family with that much money involved. A lot of people were outraged at my boyfriend still having a relationship with his grandfather despite what he has done. I brought all of this up to my boyfriend, especially how worrying it is to me that he seems so desensitized to how evil his family is. A lot of the stuff that I couldn't bring up in my last post. My boyfriend told me that he holds none of the values his family has. He spent a significant part of his life with his other parents' family in another country who were actually good people, so I think that's why he ended up so normal in comparison to his other relatives. He told me he would never cheat on me, that he has been thinking lately that I'm the one, and he would love nothing more than to spend the rest of his life away from his family and with me. I asked him if that was possible, considering the financial aspect. He told me he originally had worked under the umbrella of his family's companies at one time, but could not go on because of how they treated the poorer workers there, and he didn't feel right about it. One member of his family called him soft because he actually treated the people there humanely and kindly, and that he doesn't have what it takes in the family because of that. Now he has his own company, but it doesn't have anything to do with that side of the family. He's running the company with the help of the other side of his family, which I said before is normal. He said that he plans to sell that business eventually and move here when we decide to take that step. I asked him whether or not he would be able to go no contact with his relatives. As I said before in the edits, his family also did a lot of messed up stuff to him growing up and are also disappointed in him for not being more involved in their businesses. He told me that he never intended to spend the rest of his life near them, and while he thinks they are insane, he doesn't necessarily hate them. He told me he would never invite them into our lives if that's what I wanted, that there have been many family members who move to foreign countries and live normally, and they don't have anything to do with the main family. That made me feel better about the whole thing. He said that eventually he may have to return to his country briefly to deal with any inheritance that his grandfather may leave him. But outside of that, going low to no contact is fine with him. I feel like this conversation was enough to keep moving forward with our relationship, unless he shows me that none of the stuff he has said here is true. This brings me to the biggest question a lot of people had. Is this 6-month relationship worth being connected to that kind of family? My boyfriend has been one of the gentlest, sweetest relationships that I have ever been in. He writes me love letters often. He buys me silly sentimental things, even if I just mention it in passing. And he also plays me love songs on his instrument. He is extremely attractive, and our sex life is great. I can tell there are parts of him that are messed up a bit from his environment, but the fundamental part of him that I'm attracted to is his kindness, not just to me, but to everyone I have seen and heard him interact with. I am not interested in my boyfriend's family's money. I do well enough in my own career, and even if he was penniless, it would be very easy to support us myself. If I felt like my life was truly in danger here just by being in a relationship with him, or that he would ever retaliate against me if we ever broke up, I would feel differently, and we would no longer be together. While my boyfriend's family has their own paramilitary force in their own country, they don't really have any influence here in my country, and they don't seem interested in any part of their family that has moved away from them and living their own normal lives. I think I'm safe, and I thank others for being worried about me. I hope that alleviates a lot of the worries that commenters have. I really want to thank people who have messaged and commented really good advice and questions to bring up in my relationship. This was a really crazy situation that I have never been in before. I didn't really have a litmus on what is normal or how to proceed constructively, and writing this post has been extremely helpful. This is the final update that I will post on this account, unless his crazy grandfather really does come for my life. But I doubt that that will happen, as there are many people who he has made that threat to and still remain breathing until today. And now in the comments, thinking in the long run, if you guys get married, you will also get married into his family. No contact or low contact. He's part of the bigger picture, so take your time to get to know him and see where it goes. 6 months is nothing. Time to enjoy, but also stay real. OP replies, Yes, we decided he will keep on visiting me until we both feel ready to move forward with a relationship, and he will eventually move here. I don't intend on ever visiting his family or home country. Love letters and songs and gifts and being handsome are great, but none of those qualities are needed for a healthy relationship. That is all fairy tale rom-com stuff which often disappears as the relationship progresses. Quote, I can tell there are parts of him that are messed up a bit from his environment. You've only known him for 6 months. Based on the level of crazy in his family, I would proceed with extreme caution with this guy, and don't brush aside any red flags. Get to really know him. How does he behave when you say no? How does he handle a crisis? Is he responsible? Does he keep his place in order? Does he have real friends? How does he talk about his exes? These are all important factors if you want a future with him. And OP replies, those were things that I really loved about him. But yes, he hasn't really exhibited a major red flag outside of this instance of brushing off the fact that his grandfather jokingly threatens to kill me. When I tell him no, he does spend some time trying to convince me otherwise, but ultimately accepts it. He is pretty responsible and keeps his own apartment clean. He has a dog he cares for that literally lives like a princess. He does have normal friends that seem nice and are not insane. He talks about his exes in more of a passive way. Not rudely, but yeah, this happened and those relationships ended for X reasons. I do plan on keeping an eye out. I feel like this situation made me put my foot on the brake more so than before, and I will be watching to make sure he remains true to what he said before I decide to take the next step with him. This title is low-key hilarious. My boyfriend's family told him in detail how they will kill me and where they're gonna bury my body. Would it be rude if I skipped the family reunion? Right? My first thought after reading to the end was, welp, she gon' die. It is the same feeling I get when I'm watching a movie or show and realize it's going to end poorly for that character, aka a totally unfounded feeling. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.